possibility of trying to get busing back to the state in which it was cut. And at this time, we haven't been able to see where, I hate to say this, but like we're still looking at it. And so at some point, we're hopeful that we will be able to get back to that point, but at this point, it's not been seen feasible.
Because we are such a big district, we're spread out across, miles and miles. Again, like Ashley, I live in the north and my children had to be bused to the middle school. And so it's important for us to have access to everything, all residents. So I think it needs to be addressed and continued, the busing, in order to access all of the programs that we now also have in our district. And many things are going on, and we have to be able to get to them, or our children need to be able to get to them. If you're not able to drive your children there, the buses provide that access. And so it's a matter of access for many of the residents. Because we're such a big district spread out all over, it's important to, continue with the busing. Even though it is an issue, it is a struggle, it's a challenge, I think we're up to that challenge. And Baldwin residents understand the need to have excellent programs and have access for everyone. And that's what the busing does.
Yep. How important are the fine and performing arts programs to you? Joan?
Well, I always say there are two things that I can't do well. Actually one, and that's sing. I can do everything else. I'm a great dancer. And so I really enjoy arts, music, painting. I love to go to museums. I attend the programs in the school district, and when my children were here, unfortunately I had boys. They weren't so involved in art and dancing, but it's okay. But very important. Studies show that many students who are involved in art and music, sports, and everything, as well as the academics, do well. It makes a difference to our community as well. We have talented children. Some of you are talented parents who do sing, unlike me. And that's great. You want to see your child totally involved in school and realizing all of their dreams. It's important for everyone to access all of the activities, all of the programs that we have available. And I think the arts does that. It includes everyone, and it can. Very important.
Karen?
So every program that we offer in Baldwin Fine Performing Arts, athletics, clubs, you name it, everything helps nurture the whole child. So I'm all about making sure that we have programs that do that. And as Joan said, there is research that shows that students who participate, particularly in music, tend to do very well in math. And since we're in a society where we're going from math into STEM, we want to make sure that we can provide those kinds of things for our kids so that they will be successful in the future. I have to say, last night I had the opportunity to attend the National Honor Society induction ceremony. There was a young lady there. I can't remember her name. I don't want to misspeak it. But if you were there, you know who I'm speaking about. She came to the microphone with another student who accompanied her, and I swore it was in the Lincoln Center. She was phenomenal. We have many talented students in Baldwin, and to make sure, to help foster those skills and those talents, it is critically important that we offer an exemplary fine and performing arts program, which we do. It is one of our signature programs, and we work very hard to make sure that we maintain it and provide funding to support it.
And so I started off by telling you about a lot of my memories from Baldwin. Another strong memory that I have is the day in elementary school where we first got to go down to the music room with Mr. Pierre Louis at Baldwin and talk to him about which instrument we wanted to play. And I remember that my very first choice was string bass, my second choice was cello, and my third choice was tuba. The cello is probably my favorite instrument now, and I probably, sometimes I'm like, oh, I should have picked cello, but I'm okay. I played string bass from, I think it was third or fourth grade, all the way through my senior year of high school. I was the vice president of the chamber orchestra at the high school. And in middle school, I was a part of our drama production. I was one of the dancers, one of the extras in Cinderella. But I just remember how good all of those things made me feel, and still make me feel right now just talking about them. And so I think if we use that story as just one example, we can see how important the arts are to students. We can see the kinds of memories that they leave students with, but also the kinds of skills. An orchestra and a musical are places where you have to work together or it doesn't work. And so they offer those kinds of learning opportunities as well. And so that is part of what I know made my education at Baldwin so special. And so there, of course, are things that that I feel have to be kept in our schools. I know some of us alumni were, kind of worried in terms of funding, and maybe that those things wouldn't be there like they were for us. And so we definitely want to make sure that these things stay in our schools.
Thank you. What experience do you have working with budgets that will allow you to stay within the cap without reducing services or programs? Ashley.
So the only experience I have working with budgets is working with my own budget, my own personal life budget. But I think that in a strange way, it offers a lot of experience because as a doctoral student, I don't make a lot of money, and as a doctoral researcher, you are not given a lot of funding with which to accomplish your research. And so what I have to do is find creative ways to get things done. I have to rely on support from people in my school community who maybe can do things for me in a shorter time that would maybe cost less. And so I think a lot of working within a budget comes down to thinking about different ways outside of the traditional ways in which things are done, ways outside of the traditional ways that usually or often cost money or more money to accomplish the goal that you are trying to accomplish. And so my life forces me to be creative in that way. And I think that that is something that I could bring to the board in terms of working within a budget.
Joan?
Well, as a wife of 27 years and a mother of 3, I'm an excellent budgeter. As we know, and the people in the room who are married and have children, I fundraise all the time for my husband, and that works. But I think it's important to be able to know the value of money and the value of things, and have things that we need and things that we want as we do in our real life. What do we need in our school, in our community, and what do we want? We have many of the things that we need and want in Boston at the moment, and we want to maintain those. It's going to be, again, a challenge to look at those dynamics. What do we need? What do we want? What do we have? Where do we want to go with all of our needs and wants? And so, in my experience as, mom and wife, that's my big budgeting experience. But I also understand checks and balances. I understand the budgets of schools. I've looked at some, and I know that we have to make hard decisions as we do in our own lives. And so it's important then to, again, collaborate, communicate, and hopefully get cooperation from everyone in terms of how we budget on the board.
So, as a person who's presently sitting on the board, how the budgeting process kind of works is that we direct the administrative team, what things we would like, what the community would like to see in terms of what we need for our students. We also direct, because we have this thing called a tax cap now, that it's not a good thing to go over the tax cap. It has been put in place to try to curb school board spending, and it's been effective, and also keep people in their homes. So what we do is we work with the administrative team, give them kind of like the marching orders. They come back to us with the numbers, and they talk to the administrative teams at the different schools. This is what we need. We come back, we talk. We could use this. We may not want this. So the process is more, I mean, honestly, I'm going to be frank. You don't want me doing your budget. I like to spend money way too much. But so thank goodness we have people who are in place that are, I mean, I'm watchful. Don't get it wrong. I mean, I would never want the community to say, get her out of there because she just spent all our money. But in terms of us, the board actually physically going in and saying we're going to spend 2 cents for pencils, that's not how it works. We work collaboratively with the superintendent and the administrative team to develop the budget and to present a budget that is fiscally responsible for the community to vote on.
I'm going to combine these two because I'm quite related, but I think related enough, and we're getting low on time. Relating to physical education, how do you think to enhance the physical education program in the elementary schools? And do you see Spanish being added to the elementary school curriculum? Erin?
Okay. So I know that we've had a conversation about language at the elementary level. And it will probably be an ongoing conversation as our community of students are changing, the population is changing. There are certain regulations in play for English second language learners that we have to adhere to. So there are some opportunities in terms of working with students who, this answer's going way off. Let me just wrap it back up. So for Spanish, we will, as a board member, I know we'll continue to talk about it. Can't make any promises if that's going to happen. I do know that there is research that shows that if we get the students at the junior high level, then they're kind of good to go in terms of learning second language. As for physical education, I do know that at the elementary level, we do have, I can only speak for Plaza. I can't really talk about the other schools. Personally, I know that we have a stellar PE teacher who offers a variety of activities for our students. But again, that kind of is not in our purview as a board member. That is in the purview of the superintendent and the director of athletics. So if there are some improvements that need to be made in that area, then it would have to kind of go through that chain of command.
Ashley?
So in my position as a board member, I think my role would be to listen to the recommendations of the superintendent of the people in the district who are in charge of curriculum and instruction, and to work with them to implement whatever they feel is necessary and would be most beneficial to Baldwin students. In terms of just the general benefits of second language education or foreign language education in young learners. Studies do show that students benefit beyond just speaking another language, and that the benefits actually carry over into what they are able to do just working with the other subjects. And so I think looking at the language instruction that's offered in the district, I think it's obviously worth a look. And in terms of physical education, I think we just need to make sure that students are receiving physical education. Their movement is very, very important to the learning process as well, especially young learners. They have to be able to move and to run and let energy out. And there are a lot of different ways to engage in physical education. I actually teach a yoga class to 3 and 4-year-olds. They love it. They know all the poses. And so again, just expanding our view of physical education, looking at things in a more open-minded way. And my role would be to support those making the decisions and implementing what they feel is necessary.
Well, as you might have gathered by now, I grew up in London, and from a very early age, elementary school actually, we start to learn French and German in school. So, de parle français bien? Une personne qui parle français? And today I can say Sprechen Sie Deutsch as well, and say any number in German, ask me one. But it's very, very important that, ein. She said one, ein, zwei, drei. We digress. And so it's important to have a second language. And as we know or are aware of, and if you're not, that the demographics are changing, not only in Baldwin, but in our country. And so having a second language is very important in order for us, as I'm standing on the platform of communication, collaboration, and cooperation, to be able to work together as a community. In this difficult time in our country, there is emphasis on divisiveness and division. But I think having a second language that communicates with a population that's different from our own or from ourselves, it's very important. It's also shown, as Ashley says, that having a second language enhances not only your marketability in the employment arena, but in life. Children also, physical education is very important, especially at a very young age. For those of you who've had boys, you know that they don't stay still, and I've had two. And so there is a need for play. Play is important for children in order for them to learn. And so in the elementary school, play, physical activity, being involved in sports, as we said, also as well as music, enhances students' abilities. Scholar athletes do very, very well. And so we need to encourage play, language acquisition, in order to better communicate, collaborate, and cooperate with our society.
Thank you. And we're, based upon our schedule, I'm going to get this one last question. I think it's appropriate. Why do you want to be a school board trustee? Aaron?
Can I defer to that? Because I include that in my closing statement. Or do you guys want to hear the answer right this second?
That's a question. So I think
All right.
you can give us a small part of it.
All right. Well, serving on the board gives me the second part of the education. I started out as a teacher, and being in the classroom, you kind of just do what you do, and you don't really pay attention to how things happen and where the money is coming from and why decisions are made in the way that they're made. Serving on the school board has helped me, complete me, in terms of knowing how decisions are made, how we provide for our children. So I like being on the board because it helps me it completes me, and it helps me give back to my community.
Thank you. Joan?
Being a board member, and especially one in Baldwin, would be an honour and a privilege to serve my community. Education has been near and dear to my heart. I, from a very young age, wanted to be a teacher, and I became one. And, I connect with education. I think it's so important in everyone's lives to have an excellent school for our children. And so being a board member will help me to be a part of this team that we have in Baldwin that, collaborates and communicates well and tries its best to provide an exemplary education for our children. And so it will be an honor to be a part of this team.
Ashley?
So one of the things that I try to never do, one of the rules that I kind of have for myself in my work, is that I try to never ask my students to do something that I am not willing to do myself. And so part of our discussion is kind of like, if you want things to be better, if you want your community to be strengthened, then you can do something, you can get out there and you can do it. And so I felt that it was important for me to be an example. I think I can be an example for a lot of younger members of the community, that they can contribute something to Baldwin. I think a lot of times we grow up and we leave our community and our good ideas are used, our resources, our mental resources are kind of used elsewhere. And I think that Baldwin has given me so much, more than I would ever be able to tell you in 30 seconds. But my education in Baldwin has been something that I have constantly said to people has been something that has made the biggest difference in my life, in what I've been able to do for my work and what I've been able to accomplish as a relatively young person in my field. And so it would be truly an honor for me to be able to be a trustee, a member of the board, and to be able to give some of those ideas back to Baldwin.
Thank you. And now we'll have closing statements, same order.
And so as we close, it was a thrill and an honor for me to be here and to see so many residents taking part in this important decision to elect a new member of the board. As your member of the board, given my experiences as a resident, mother, an educator, an advocate, and a champion of education, I believe that Baldwin is an excellent community. As Dr. Cami stated, as I was saying before, that I went to the board PTA meeting at Lennox, and she was there, and she talked about that everyone comes to the table with a concern. I believe that my experiences, commitment to inclusivity, and strong belief that every single child is entitled to a free and high-quality public education are the reasons why I'm seeking your support this evening. It's not only important to address the academic needs of our students and our children, but also their social and emotional needs. I'm running so that we can keep the ball moving in Baldwin. There was a program that she talked about, I forget what it's called now, but it was a program where they had people come in and all the children were behind a line and then they had to step over a line when a statement was made. For instance, have you ever been lonely? Have you ever felt left out? And at the end of that program, every single child was standing behind the line so that there was something that resonated with every person. That is what I see in Baldwin, that we all can collaborate, communicate, and cooperate. In the immortal words of Dr. Seuss, you have brains in your heads, you have your feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Oh, the places will go together. Vote for me. Vote to have your voices heard and your concerns addressed through the communication, collaboration, and cooperation. Thank you, and go Bruins.
Ashley?
As I stated when I began, I am a graduate of Baldwin Schools. My career in Baldwin has shown me the importance of my education. As a college professor who teaches, and as someone who does research on the ways in which education is made better, I have unique expertise. Baldwin meant so much to me, and I would love the opportunity to give back to a community, to give back to my community and this school district. While I've never been a board member, I'm always, in all of the work that I do, a willing and interested learner. I know the state school board and national school board offer conferences and trainings, and I will make sure that I participate in as many of these opportunities as possible so that I can best support our district and community. I also told you in the beginning of this that I made a promise to Mr. Buglione. In keeping that promise, I am again asking you for your confidence and for your vote. Thank you for asking such good questions, for taking the time to listen to all of our answers. And I want to give a special shout out to some of my classmates from Baldwin who came out tonight to support me. When I walked into Brookside in kindergarten, I never imagined that public education would be such an important part of my life. But it is, and I know that for that, I have Baldwin to thank.
Thank you. Karen?
When I ran to be elected to the board 3 years ago, my motto was, "We need Reed to move the district forward in a positive direction." Shortly before my arrival to the board, the district was operating in a negative space. We were recovering from the aftermath of closing 2 schools and a failed budget. People were not happy. Let me correct that. People were just downright angry. In my 3 years on the board, I see that we have made a shift. We're in a more positive place. We've adopted 3 budgets with a levy tax levy tax cap. Last year's budget was at a negative 0.41%, and we did so without having to cut any programs. We have increased income and revenue by making adjustments to the contract we have with our tenants at Milburn, and generated additional revenue by renting our Schubert facility to Uniondale for their pre-K program. All of that revenue has come back to programs for our students. We have also been working diligently to get the Baldwin School District to be seen in a more positive light, with visits from the district to the district with people like Regent Roger Tillis and the Commissioner of the New York State Education, Mary Ellen Aaliyah. We've also been working with different entities to get the positive messaging out about our district. And even though I was told by the superintendent that I could take credit for all of the above, I don't. All I will say is I've done my part. I've been a champion for the school district by promoting all positive things that are going on. I served as a president of the board for 2 years during the first 2 years of my 3-year term. I've been highly visible and accessible at school events, athletic games, concerts, community events. I've attended the workshops that Ashley spoke about at the New York State School Boards Association. So I want to increase my knowledge base to be a successful trustee and keep informed on public education. My mom used to say that as a parent, it was her job to produce productive members of society. Can I finish my last statement? As the school board, it is our job to help to that end. It's been an honor serving on the board, and I would love the privilege to be elected again. I'm asking for your vote. Keep moving forward with Reed. Thank you.
Let's give them all a round of applause, please. I want to thank you all for coming and asking the questions. Obviously, we can't get to all of them, but I think the important things is spread the word, go out and vote on May 16th, and if you're not registered, I believe you have some time to register to vote as well.
Yes, I want to say first, thank you again for our participants in the audience, and special thanks to Joanne, Sheila, Natasha, Georgia, Patrice, and Lauren from our executive committee for assisting tonight, and also for you, the audience, and community members. As Barbara just mentioned, it's very important to go out and vote. Not only to vote, but make sure to get your neighbors to do so as well. The registration deadline is May 11th. Information also could be obtained if you need absentee ballots through the district clerk office, who is available from Monday to Friday from 8 to 4. So just want to make sure we get that information out. Thank you and have a good evening.